God made you for a purpose. Are you listening? Not knowing why something is made, listen at this carefully, not knowing why something is made, you can easily abuse it. Each item that is made has a purpose. A baseball bat applied properly to a baseball is the proper purpose and usage. A baseball bat applied to a head, improper and abusive. Nothing wrong with the bat. It just was not created to go upside the head. So not knowing or not properly using the thing that is made causes its misuse and its abuse. Don't ask the creation what its purpose is. Ask the Creator. Some of you here tonight may say, you don't know where I came from, the things I've done. You don't know my parents. I came from an illegitimate background. Listen, that doesn't matter. Here's what you need to understand. Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you. In other words, I laid my hands on you. I had my hands on you before you entered into the matrix of your mother's womb. You don't come, listen at this, you don't come from a background. You do not come from a background. You don't come from your parents. You may have come through them, but you don't come from them. You come from God. And that's important to know because many persons walk around feeling something less than because somebody has stamped it indelibly on their minds that they are from some background. Your assignment can't be messed up by your circumstances. Sometimes God's plan has an unexpected move. That plan will often come through unexpected events that force you and me in a direction you never would have gone. Anybody experienced that? Some unexpected event forces you into a direction you never would have gone. Let me give you a quick example. We lived in Mobile, Alabama. My father, my mother, my brother, and I. My father gets a letter from Cincinnati, Ohio, saying that his only sister is sick. So we get on the Hummingbird, which was a part of the L&N Railroad Station, and we came from Mobile through Nashville, through Louisville, went right on to Cincinnati. When we got there to visit my father's sick sister, while we were there, my father went outside. Next door to the house was a man just happened to be cutting his grass. For those of you who know my father, he was a very sociable man. So he saw a man cutting the grass, and he just went next door and said, I'm D.L. Motley Sr. here visiting my sister. And he says, I'm Deacon L. Tillery. He says, how long will you be here? My father said, well, we'll be here maybe at least a week. He said, are you staying through Sunday? He said, well, it's a possibility we'll stay through Sunday. He said, well, I'm the chairman of the deacon board, Deacon L. Tillery, and I'm going to invite you to come and worship with us at the Peace Missionary Baptist Church. I'm talking about a plan. And we go and visit the Peace Missionary Baptist Church, and the pastor was a Joseph L. Hudson, who that Sunday morning was informed by the chairman of the deacon board, Deacon L. Tillery, that was a guest preacher from Mobile, Alabama. So Deacon Reverend Hudson says, because we have a guest preacher today, I think we'll let him preach today. But he better be able to preach. And I'll never forget, there was a lady there that if I call her name, it would mean anything to you. She said, yeah, he better be able to preach. And so the old man got up, and old man did his thing, and eventually we went on back home. And they invited him back to come in and do a revival, and old man went up and preached that week, and he finally came back, and we were at home then in Mobile, Alabama, while he was doing the revival. When he came back, weeks, maybe some months went by, and that was a letter that came through the mail to go to show you how my mother really does mean it when she says she believes in trusting the Lord with all your heart and lean not. That was a letter that came in the mail, and my mother walked up to my father, never opened the letter, and she just put it in his face, and she said, here's your new church. And old man opened it up, and it was an invitation. The pastor had died, and they had a calling, and it had extended the call to him to come. Nothing in this world would have convinced me that we would have left Alabama. How? Because of my daddy's sister getting sick. Changed the entire direction of our life. There's no question in my mind, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gone to UK. My brother wouldn't have gone to Ohio State and ultimately ended at Morehouse. If I hadn't been at UK, I never would have known Ollie Sanders' brother, who ended up being asked by Ollie to invite the Black Voices to come to Gilt Edge, where I was, and where we were invited to come to be with you in Gilt Edge. You all know the rest of the story. Look at the plan. How all of that had its own chain reaction, all because of my father's sister getting sick, it's an unexpected event, nothing that we ever would have planned. Do you get the point? The book of Esther opens with a wild 7-day party in the king's palace. At the end of the 7 days partying, the epitome of the seduction was flaunting the best-looking women in the king's harem in dance. The king, in finale, asks Queen Vashti to dance. She refused. Greatly embarrassed, the king decided to get rid of his queen. Here was a king now without a queen. The palace announced a national beauty contest. There were 127 provinces under King Artaxerxes' ruling, so 127 women were selected from each province. Esther was a young orphan girl, and she was chosen as one of them. I told you that your circumstance, your assignment cannot be messed up by your circumstance. Queen Vashti's departure set the stage for the higher purpose of God. Did you hear that? Queen Vashti's departure set the stage for the higher purpose of God. Sometimes when things happen you can't explain, it should tell us somebody else really is in charge. Overnight, God placed an orphan girl into a palace. Mordecai, a godly relative, laid the groundwork in Esther's childhood to begin